And a new study shows the coronavirus is becoming more stable because of mutations, which could make the virus even more infectious.
So joining us now to explain more on this, our chief health editor, Dr. Nandi. And Doc, how is this virus mutating? What's happening?
So Glenda and Alan, the mutated strain we're talking about has a name. It's called D614G. And it made headlines last month when scientists actually suggested that it was more contagious than the original strain. But the research actually received a lot of criticism. It was suggested that this strain dominated due to what's called the founder effect. Now what that means is that when something starts off relatively small and by chance it's able to spread to a larger population. But this latest research, Glenn and Alan, shows that no, it was likely not a fluke or some unrelated phenomenon, that the virus does indeed have the ability to adapt and change. Now what the researchers did was conduct 3 separate experiments, and these showed how one small mutation could really stabilize the virus's spike protein. The spikes actually are what allows the virus to enter a human cell, and these typically shed off, but the mutation actually was able to increase the number of spikes, and that allowed the virus to more easily attach and enter human cells. So that's how it really did that.
You know, Doc, it's actually terrifying to think of the coronavirus actually mutating, but how much more infectious are we actually talking about with this strain?
So first let me say that the number of spikes is 4 to 5 times greater on the virus because of this mutation. And in laboratory testing, this strain was found to be almost 10 times more infectious. So it appears that the virus is learning how to become more transmissible. That means it can infect easier. It may also explain why the virus spreads so easily in some areas, while in other areas we have an easier time containing it.
So we know viruses do change, Doc. They do all the time. Do we need to be worried about this? Is it more lethal now?
It's an important question, Glenda. In China, here's what doctors have actually brought attention to a new cluster of cases. And they noted that there are patients who had the virus for a longer period of time, that it took longer before their symptoms showed, and it took longer for them to test negative. And here's why I find that concerning, because it gives the virus more time to infect others. Now, as to whether the D614G will be more lethal, we have to have more studies to show that. And other studies have shown it to be more predominant in hospital intensive care units. But it doesn't mean that folks are going to die from it, or is it going to be lethal. To be honest, we need more information, right, to see if it's more dangerous. And we need to keep a close eye on these mutations, because as we get those mutations, we'll learn how to adapt to it and learn more from it. So all these areas, one area is getting infected quicker versus another, I think we can get a better understanding of it. But this gives us some light that the virus does mutate.
Pretty scary. All right, Doc, thank you for that information. And remember, if you do have a coronavirus question for the doctor, you can email him, Dr. Nandi at askdrnandi.com, or be sure to send it to us on Facebook or Twitter.